Hi, this is Deb Helfrich. I am on Carnegie Mellon's campus. I've been trying to work since 9 a.m. and it's 1 p.m. This is what we put people through. The decibel levels of the landscaping weapons of mass distraction, at the very least, but I'm pretty sure the amount of carbon monoxide being put off by this appliance, these appliances that have now been operating on a Sunday morning for 4 straight hours and just cycle and cycle and cycle. As the hashtag RedheadedSheHulk, I am the first human willing to stand on a stage and say, I am suffering from global warming. And that noise and carbon monoxide poisoning appliance is absolutely killing all of us. Now, I have had a very challenging last decade of my life after successfully graduating from Carnegie Mellon 30 years ago with a BA in philosophy and becoming a software consultant for 2 decades, running payroll. The IRS was my customer. My brain worked that well. And the IRS and all 50 states and Singapore's and Western European countries, I ran payroll across the globe. Now, I've been destitute since October. I've been living in my car for 4 months. I cannot get a single person to listen to my world-evolving thinking because most of my time is spent dealing with toxicity and pollution and operating under just enormous amounts of real-world environmental constraints. So the first sound was the trimmer, of which nobody would notice the difference. And the whole grass was cut with the big machines that they stand on and ride around. Now he's walking around the trimmer and now a leaf blower. If we don't understand what these machines are doing to the human attention span, we let this just happen. In every single neighborhood I've ever lived in, it's getting worse and worse and worse. Every yard done by a different company on a different day at a different time. The amount of challenge we are creating through wanting pretty lawns to our birds and our bees, all of our life force, it's just ridiculous. Now this is just me being me. I've prepared a lot of written material on my website, debhelfrich.squarespace.com. And and yet nobody will listen to the help I need, and they keep giving me unuseful help. They keep not seeing the great promise I have and trying to get me in systems that will take away the small little foundation of health that I trust my body. And when my body reacts so strongly to things like distractions from landscaping equipment, it's not something that I personally have to learn to deal with better. I have to learn why it would be so traumatic to me to deal with. I mean, the decibel levels are just out of control. Then adding the carbon monoxide, which again, I went over this before, but now I can hear myself talk and think. We need to do a better job of being human. We need to learn what being human truly entails, what consciousness is and is not, who has consciousness, what being conscious truly means. And we need to work at building a civilizational framework that guarantees every single one of the 7.8 billion humans across every nook and cranny of Earth the right to build the life of their dreams. We all benefit when everyone is living the life they want to live. The capacity to make the greatest global good is always in the person being precisely who they are. Yet we've created this civilization that forces us all into these very similar categories that, again, I am in such a dire situation, not because of anything I have done or not done. It is because it is nobody's job to think about the toxicity of our own thinking. It's right in the blind spot. How is everyone talking to themselves in their own mind? How are we talking to other people? How are we helping people? When somebody asks, hey, I need some help, 99 times out of 100, people spout off advice to me. It's like, okay, it's a socialized creature. I say, that's really, really nice. Now, can I explain what kind of help I need? Thanks for all that advice, but it had no pertinence to what I need. What I need is money to stay alive. Why I need money to stay alive is because I spent every single penny I have staying alive. And then the pandemic happened. And I worked and I worked and I worked. I have excelled myself. I have pushed myself beyond every limitation and received nothing. No compensation whatsoever. Yet everyone I ask for help is constantly wanting me to pay them. They have, their boundaries are they get paid for their work. The work of saving our failing civilization as a wise feminine philosopher. It can find no patrons. I don't understand. Now, we're literally talking about me being the proverbial Sherlock, who can offer a hypothesis that will lead to stopping cancer from occurring. You can't cure cancer. You want to stop it from occurring. Curing is that there's this bug in the world and nothing we can do about it. You get it, then we got to fix you. Cancer is a problem with our own body's signaling. And once you understand yourself as an electromagnetic being, you have the philosophical hypothesis of bioelectricity, which is billions of dollars of intellectual property. not even slightly overestimating. I am underestimating, in fact. Of course, I'm pretty wise, and putting things on the internet for free is not a way to make money. So there is enough out there for anyone to see that I know how this all ties together. But that the way that I've done it means that you won't get any farther than just copying and pasting my words. You can't explain it from the astute way that I've kept the nuts and bolts of the theory to be shared with people who want to give me work and help me fund the Wellbeing Philosophy Institute. I'll wrap up with this. My work is an iceberg. So it's 2021. No one is sitting around listening to philosophy lectures. We need to pivot that into education, entertaining education. Gotta switch it around, right? The edu is not the primary. Enter is the primary. So the hashtag RedheadedSheHulk. This is one woman improv. This is just like stand-up comedy, except it's stand-up philosophy. And I'll make you laugh a little bit. I mean, I am the little redheaded girl who's grown up to give Sigmund Freud vagina envy. Because my definition of the human subconscious is better than his. Case closed. Now, of course, I've never proceeded to just randomly explain what that means to anybody. So, gotta ask me if you really want to know in full detail. Because again, bring me any of these neuroscience people. You know, I have a lot of respect for all of the terrain that they've mapped, but mapping the terrain does not tell us anything about the inhabitants. And with all that they know, where are our memories? Which bit of all of this is the subconscious? Why we need philosophy to be revived from its extinction, why we need this wise feminine philosopher to be asking all kinds of really crucial, pertinent questions that can immediately start to pivot human health. It's August 15th. We're now got the signs back up. Masks are mandatory, and mine is right here. But if the masks work so well, we'd see better results, would we not? Maybe there's a 1-2 punch. It's not an airborne virus in the air. It may be propelled through the air occasionally via strong mechanisms like coughing and sneezing. But predominantly, you know, after those first few weeks in March 2020, the masks have done a poor job. Why don't we add in? Because I'm not done, we must continue wearing them, but it's not enough. Why don't we also start mandating gloves? We are touching things. We're touching thousands of surfaces and sanitizing our hands, 2-3 dozen times a day. Now, I'm not a material scientist. I don't know what kind of gloves, and trust me, I do not want to wear highly, just the masking creates a great deal of problem for me as somebody who suffered from rosacea my whole life. Putting on gloves for my sensitive hands will be a truly hard thing to deal with. But in the greater good, I would certainly consider doing that. All right. It's been an interesting live stream. A lot of different juxtapositions because of, quite frankly, the challenging environment in which I have no space where I belong, a place of belonging my whole life, apart from my years as an undergraduate at Carnegie Mellon. And I have been soundly ignored in trying to establish myself as a 52-year-old. How can you take a chance on a 16-year-old but not be present to the possibility some small percentage of alumni might in fact go off and out in the world and discover truly innovative, insightful ways to create a world evolving future. Holler, DebHelfrich at Gmail. Harmony.